200 years ago, the Founding Fathers established a land free from tyrannical control, the United States of America. The American people earned the right to choose their own path, yet today it seems that hard-fought freedom is rarely utilized. This right to have the people have control over their own destinies, as opposed to a king's rule, was one that would lead a democratic revolution around the world. In 2012, 53.6% of eligible U.S. citizens voted in the general election. By contrast, the voter turnout in Belgium was 87.2%. Despite being the land of the free, the people seemed rather indifferent. What happened to the American people? The voting process might be a factor. In the state of New Jersey alone, one needs to be registered to vote in both the primaries and the general election. To vote in a primary, one needs to register more than a month before and must declare a party affiliation. Many of those who are independent, which range from a variety of ages, feel excluded from the process. The polls require voter ID, which deters some of the younger voters who lack any. Not every 18-year-old has a driver's license, forcing them to resort to other forms. State IDs are a hassle to obtain, considering the DMV's reputation for efficiency, and some are reluctant to bring some important documents, like their social security card or passport, simply for a vote that many feel will not count. Some states prevent people from registering on the same day. The United States has a massive amount of elections compared to other democratic nations, but there are several obstacles in the way of voter fraud, something that was rampant in the 1800s. This process did not only deter false votes, however, they turned away potential voters as well.
In the primaries? Nah. Yeah, I wasn't registered.
Yeah, you feeling the bird?
I'd be the good guy.
I would if I registered. Yeah, I wanted to, but I'm too lazy. Nah, it's hella people in America.
I did. I voted. I was really excited to vote. It was really fun, except a little bit anticlimactic, but still really exciting. Absolutely. Growing up around politics, I've always been so excited to vote, and it's nice to have a voice and be able to exercise that right.
My name is Fred Pugliese. I am the former mayor of Kenilworth. I ran for election for councilman 3 times, and I ran for mayor once. Well, one of the initial questions that you want to do is decide if you want to go any negative campaigning, and if so, what portion of negative to positive campaigning do you want to do? By negative campaigning, I mean rather than focusing on your accomplishments, you're focusing on and the other side's mistakes or items that you disagree with. Well, I think there needs more verification in the registration and voter process. I just find it odd that you get when you're going to do something as irrelevant as buying alcohol or cigarettes, you could be asked for identification. But yet, when you're deciding who the next leader of the free world will be, you can't even be asked for any identification. So I actually would make it a little more burdensome, but more accurate, the voting process to ensure that, number one, the person who is voting is eligible to vote, either because of citizenship issues or otherwise, and number two, once they go vote, that they show proper proof of identification to ensure that it is, in fact, the individual that's registered to vote is, in fact, voting, and not somebody else. And as many people have heard, there have been stories of dead people voting, mostly in Hudson County. I actually just, number one, if you meet with them and you actually speak to them, that's the best way. Because oftentimes we don't get to see the people we're voting for. We don't get to speak to them from one way or another. So, you know, you just talk to them, and then you give them a pen or something like that.
Pen.
Something to remember you by. And you explain to, mostly just a hello. If you just get a chance to say hello to them, you're halfway there, and they'll come out to vote, because it's odd that, you know, with the days of social media, they don't get to actually meet people. I think if you actually meet them, you know, you're halfway there. And number two, as long as you sound intelligent and you can explain your positions accurately and with some intelligence, they'll understand. Even if they disagree with you, they'll understand what you're stating, and will most likely end up voting for you. I mean, again, you have to explain to them that you're on their side, right? You have to explain a reason why they should go vote for you, either because you stand for something that they believe in and will affect them and make their lives better, or that the other person will have a negative effect on their lifestyle, and that's why they should vote for you, to make sure that the other person doesn't get it. I think, honestly, I just think it's you know, people's lives have just become busier than they used to be. You know, I don't think people take any more or less interest in the politicians. I just think people who lead busier lives, and they just have less time to do anything else to go out of their schedule. I know many of you might be going off to school, to college, but it's important that you actually register to vote now. And number one, but number two, more importantly, register for an absentee ballot. Those are actually one of the first returns that us politicians receive. So they're the ones that are actually more meaningful, because they give you a sense of how the election is going to turn out. And what you do, you just tell them where you're going to be living in November, and they'll mail you the ballot, and you just have to mail it back. All politicians get those results first, and they're the ones that really actually mean more than the bigger numbers that come in later, because they set the tone.
Hi, I'm Bill Hilferty. I'm a history teacher at UCVTS. I'm going to talk a little bit about politics and government. Yes. As soon as I turned 18, I registered to vote because I think it's very important. I'm obviously really into history and government and everything, so I registered right away, and I have voted in every national election for president anyway. I think it's because I think there are a number of different reasons. I think one possible reason is that people just don't think that voting is really that important, that they don't think that it really affects their lives very much. They're worried about so many other things that they really, they don't have time to think about who they're going to vote for. I think another reason is many people maybe feel like they don't have someone to vote for, so maybe they don't like any of the candidates, and they just figure that they will stay home. And the third possible reason is maybe they think that their vote just doesn't matter. So for example, if they know someone is going to win, if someone it's obvious that a candidate's going to win, they figure what's the point of going out and voting? Or even on the other hand, if they know their candidate's going to lose, even more reason to not go and vote. So I think there's a lot of different reasons, but I think those are some of them.